a video review of the Osprey Poco Plus Child Hiking Backpack Carrier. I'm Chris, this is our little Explorer, and today we are going to be reviewing this carrier. This is Yellow Productions. If this is your first time here, we do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining, and we like to hike when we're traveling, and so we're going to tell you about how this backpack has helped us enjoy our hiking while traveling. We're going to share with you the pros, the cons, a little overview of the pack, and we're going to show you a little bit of this spot that we're hiking in. This is the Oak Canyon Nature Center. It's in Anaheim, California, approximately 10 miles from Disneyland. Pretty neat place to hike. Let's go explore. So now you might be wondering, Chris, why do you need a backpack like this instead of like a stroller or a front pack? Well, first of all, a stroller could never go on something like this. When we've been limited to strollers, we've been limited on the hiking trails we can go on. And actually, I have a pretty good center of gravity with this. Baby is close to my back, and so I feel like I can actually go up and down something like that. So Chris, you said this was a travel channel, and travel's not all about hiking, and you're right. And actually, the great thing about using a pack like this, so you don't just have to use it for hiking. Our friend Jack is actually who recommended this to us, and he says when he takes his kids out urban exploring in cities around the world, he just takes them in this backpack and he doesn't take a stroller. Why? Because the stroller has the same problems. You have to find an elevator, you can't go upstairs, but if you've got your kiddos urban exploring in this, you can pretty much go anywhere. And if you're like, well, Chris, it's a little too big, this actual kickstand back here, if you're not using this bottom pocket, can come in a little bit to make it a little bit smaller. Just make sure though that if you're gonna set it down again, that you kick that stand out again before you do. So first, let's start with an overview of the pack. Number one, most important thing, it has a great spot to put the baby in it right here. Come, I wanna show you this. It's got a nice, soft, what they call a drool pad right here for the baby. She's also got a headrest back here and a harness. I'm gonna show you how she goes in a moment, but right in front of the drool pad, it's also got this front handle and it's got a back handle, so you can easily pick this whole thing up when you need to lift it. Now, looking down here, these are the harness straps. This adjusts to different heights. There's this little strap in here. If you open this up, then this goes up and down. So if you're taller or shorter, this backpack will work for you. I'm 6 feet tall and I use it in just its largest setting. Below the shoulder straps are some waist straps. The Poco Plus has kind of better waist straps than the original Poco, with also some pockets here. Taking a look at the back, this is where all the pockets are. The first pocket up here, this one, it's actually not a pocket. This one's really cool, and this is one of my favorite things about the Poco Plus, is it's a sunshade. It has its own pocket for the sunshade that's attached, and it deploys in these little clips right here. So you get this, you clip it on, and now baby has a perfect sunshade. Doesn't she look all safe in there? And as baby grows bigger, it's got these little stirrups on the side that baby's foot can go in, so that way baby's not dangling their feet. For our baby that's 8 months, she's not really yet big enough to use those stirrups. Okay, going back to the pockets in the back, just below the sunshade is a small pocket. Right now you can see in that pocket I've got my sunglasses and an extra battery for the camera. The next pocket, this one's a really big pocket. You could put lots of stuff in here. Then there's a outside pocket here. Maybe you could put like a jacket. So in the bottom of the backpack, and this is different in the Poco Plus, the Poco doesn't have this. This one has a big pocket down here, and you can put lots of stuff in here. Tover, did you stow away with us?
Yeah, I gotta be here for the review.
Oh, well, that's great. So he's gonna join us later for the Tover review, but you can see there's a big pocket right here. And this thing is actually the kickstand that helps this thing actually almost double as a high chair. This actually kicks in when you're wearing the pack. So now let's talk about the baby seat and putting baby into the carrier. Come over here, I wanna show you the baby seat before I put her in. This is the seat right here. It moves up and down depending upon the weight of the child. It'll support between 16 to 40 pounds. Right now I've got it in the loading mode. This is the harness, but it's got these clips that you clip on the front so it stays out of the way for baby. There's 2 spots that baby's feet have to go through, and so we're gonna go ahead and put baby in here. This is the trickiest part of it, just getting baby's feet through those 2 little holes. And now we unclip this harness here that's clipped on the front, it's got clips on both sides. And then we put baby's arms through the harness here, and we put baby's other arm through the other harness here. And then the harness clips in the back, nice right here behind this soft thing, so the harness clips are all out of the way for baby. And these things right here, these sidebars, this is what gives this pack a lot of stability. It's really solid. She's been sitting in one place too long. She wants to go, so let's go and continue another shot. The way you pick it up with this handle, you put this arm on here, you kind of swing it around, and you put the other arm in here, just like that. And then it's got the waist straps that you buckle on. Key is you want these to be around your hips, and then it's also got this right here that you put in place for some stability. And now I clip the microphone over here because that's a better place to do it. And you can see now that she's up here, she loves it because she's playing with my hair in the back, I think. Hopefully you can see that. You know, if that's is it one drawback or one weird thing about wearing a backpack like this is before I was using a baby carrier that had baby in front, so I could see what baby's doing, but now I can't really see what baby's doing, but I can feel what baby's doing. So let's take a look at some of the other things on the pack. On the front side of this waist thing is adjustable, so it comes in and out. There's also a couple pockets here. You can see it's got some water bottle holders. It has places to hold 2 water bottles and some other pockets on the top, so lots of space to store stuff. All right, let's go to the next spot so she gets a little bit of happiness time on her hike. Baby, you're awfully quiet back there. What's going on? Are you still doing okay? And it's hard to see her. So my pro tip for you is if you've got a cell phone that has a selfie camera, well, you can use that and see baby. Baby's still happy, but baby's quiet. And we can take a little selfie picture here. Okay, so now you might be thinking, but Chris, the backpack, it's heavy, right? Like that looks a lot heavier than a stomach carrier, right? This backpack itself is a little more than 7 pounds, but actually on the back it feels a lot lighter than the Ergo Baby does. I think because of the way it distributes the weight and the way it's adjustable, it actually puts a lot of the weight on the hips rather than up here, and all these different straps really help to just keep it secure. By the end of a hike with the Ergo Baby, I'd be completely exhausted having all this weight right here. This is a much more natural way. And in the Ergo Baby, baby is right on my tummy, or your tummy if you're using an Ergo Baby, and if that's the case, it's super hot and super steamy. And at the end of the hike, my shirt would be wet, her shirt would be wet. And so this way, with this type of a backpack, baby is a couple inches off your back, and that actually makes it a lot cooler. Now I do want to point out there is a big size difference between the Poco Plus and these sort of front carriers. The Ergo Baby, really quite small, so easy to take with you almost anywhere. But Poco Plus, much bigger. By the way, I'm a 6 foot tall guy, so this works out well on me. The Ergo Baby actually never really fit me all that well because where it's supposed to sit to take the weight off is really supposed to be your hips, and I could actually never really get this thing to adjust properly to do that. So for me, this actually ends up being much lighter than this. So now that we know a little bit about the pack itself, let's talk about the pros and the cons. First, we'll start with the pros. We'll talk about what's good with this backpack. As I mentioned earlier, it actually doesn't feel that heavy. The mobility is really great. The airflow is really good on the backpack. I love the handles on it. It just feels good and feels steady. Also, this kickstand that I talked about here, kind of a neat thing about it is if you're out and about and you're eating or you're picnicking and you're like, oh, where do I put baby? You'd have to look for a place to put baby. But with this thing, with the kickstand, you can actually just put baby down any place there's something flat, and this actually doubles as a high chair. Everything on the pack feels pretty well made, and really, it looks comfy, and baby enjoys being in it. Isn't that right, baby? And the final pro, not really for us because we don't do multi-day hiking, but it's got lots of storage spots in it, lots of things. It could double as a diaper bag. You can put lots of things in here, and you could even put a water bladder inside the part that fits for the back so you can carry lots of water as well. And I didn't show it earlier, but if you want toys and you've got toys for little kiddo, it's got all these little clip parts on here where you can clip toys, so that way they don't drop them. But one of my favorite things about the Poco Plus that I showed you earlier, we're gonna deploy it again, is this sunshade. I love that it's built in. I love that it has that pocket. And I love that it shields baby quite a bit. You can buy a separate rain shade, but that's a separate purchase. And this drool pad is kind of nice. It actually, it unvelcros, and you can take the drool pad off and wash it if baby's drooled on it a ton. And so on the sunshade, almost every baby carrier has some sunshade, but most of the other ones, they're not attached. There's some separate thing that you have to deploy on. I really like how this one is attached and has its own separate pocket and how it shields from all sides completely. For us, we live in Southern California. I mentioned we're by Disneyland. This for us was probably the deciding factor to get the Poco Plus for how shielded baby is in there. And now another good part about that sunshaded, it helps you know where the top of the backpack is so you don't hit baby's head if you're going through some low trees. Actually, this happened earlier where I heard the backpack hitting some tree branches. I'm like, oh, that's the top of it. So it's better for it to hit there than to hit baby. All right, so now let's talk about the cons. First, the price. It's expensive. It's $330 regular price, which I guess it's a substantial thing, but that is more money than the Ergo Baby. The Ergo Baby or the chest carrier, you'll likely still need one of those when baby is small. Our baby was able to fit into this just at about 8 months or 18 pounds, kind of the bottom weight limit of it. The water pockets, they're almost a little too far back for me as one person. I can get to the water, but when I'm getting to that water, I'm like doing some heroics to get to where that water is when it's on my back. Another con, the colors. It only comes in 2 color choices. They're black and blue. I really wanted something a lighter color. We're in a really hot place here in California, and so when it's black, it really attracts a lot of heat. So it's a pro that this backpack keeps baby really close for the center of gravity. It's a con that this handle right here is so close to one's head that when you're walking up a steep incline, this handle actually ends up in the back of your head. Final con, this adjustment, which is a pro because you can make this thing big or small, I was convinced that I couldn't make it big enough to the largest setting. It's got some things printed in there about what size it is, but they actually misprinted it. I called Osprey support and said, I can't get it to the largest setting. And they're like, yeah, it's because the printing on there doesn't actually line up correctly. The top of it, that's as large as it goes. The one note, if you are using this for urban exploration, is it doesn't really have any anti-theft features. Actually, I don't think any of these baby backpacks have anti-theft features. But Osprey, if you're listening, maybe you could team up with like PackSafe. They have a lot of these bags that are like cut proof and have extra things on them to like clip in the zippers so people can't pickpocket back here. I'd be really worried if I was using this in an urban setting that people would be going through my stuff in any place because I can't really see back there. So Osprey, make one that's designed for urban exploring, not just hiking. Okay, Topher, do you know what time it is?
It's Topher review time.
It's time to get the Topher review, and for those of you who watch our video reviews regularly, you'll know we rate things on a scale of 1 to 5 Tophers. And so Topher, how many Tophers does the Osprey Poco Plus carrier get?
4 Tophers.
It gets 4 Tophers, and so in summary, we'll talk about why it got 4 Tophers. Well, we're reasonably happy with it. We're not gonna return it. It had some of those cons that we talked about, but those aren't significant enough to make us unhappy about it. Overall, we really like it. She likes it too. She likes it when we're walking, not when we're sitting. So I think with that, we're gonna continue on with our hike. And as usual, won't say goodbye because we'll see you in the next video, which is right here and right here. Click one of those to watch some of our other videos.